Hey, this is Deanna Kuempel with Label Free Podcast. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my awesome good friend, Scott Ferguson.
Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. It's Scott Ferguson, and we are at episode 235 with my rock star living label free lifestyle, Deanna Kuempel. And Deanna is a fellow Midwesterner of mine. She rocks the mic on her awesome podcast. She's always out meeting people, leveling up her life, helping others level up their life. She's such an inspiration. You're going to want to take some notes. She's went through hell and back, came back, not unscathed, but better, and always doing it scared. She faced a lot of adversity in her life, which you'll see in this interview with human trafficking, losing her husband. I'm just going to leave it at that because I want you to sit back, relax, break out your notebooks, because here comes my really good friend, Deanna Kuempel, host of the Label Free Podcast. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I have been stoked to have my sister from another mister, the sister that jacks some iron, that gets out there and gets it done. And she posted something today, that's a little affirmation. And I want to just read it to you real quick and just say that I am shining bright with optimism and I am ready for what's on the horizon. Bring it on, universe. That's exactly how my really good friend, Deanna Kuempel, attacks life. She's a fantastic podcaster. She's a Midwestern girl with strong family values. She's a human trafficking survivor, a widow, have overcome lots of abuse. And despite all those setbacks, Deanna is she's an accomplished entrepreneur with many great professional accomplishments. And if you check her out on on social, she's out there just absolutely crushing it, making connections, putting people with people who need to know each other. And she has a fantastic podcast called the Label Free Podcast. You have to check it out. Don't go there now, but there will be a link in the show notes for you to go over there. And Deanna, thank you so much for coming on. Introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
My favorite color is probably blue.
Blue, okay.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Well, I'm a Virgo. So
Okay.
my birthstone is sapphire, and I'm drawn to it. So
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm looking literally. I'm blessed here that I have oceanfront here in Jupiter, Florida, and I'm looking at the Atlantic Ocean. It's blue, even with a hazy sky, since we're in hurricane season. So, and you're rocking the coral today, though.
I know, I love it. See my nails, like
beautiful friend here. If you're watching on YouTube or any of other streaming platform, she's fantastic. So, let's get into your story. Like, you and I have talked, just some business and a little bit. We know we're both gym rats and, we like to stay in shape and whatnot, but like, let's get into your story. I heard human trafficking. I understand we did speak a little bit about you losing your late husband there, but let's get into your story and how you got up into really launching Label Free Podcast and changing lives.
Well, okay. So, yes, I was a victim of human trafficking. I was very young, 17, got involved with the wrong kind of guy, and just kind of went down that path. Luckily, I was strong enough to survive and not, because I think a lot of women that get involved in that, they end up like going down the wrong path. I mean, I did get involved in drugs, but I never got addicted. So I was able to let that go and just move forward. I did meet my late husband at a very young age, and he was kind of like my savior, I would have to say, because he pulled me out of a lot of that. Even though I was starting to separate from it, he did pull me out of that. And I was with him for about 17 years. He was a big bodybuilder. We owned 5 different businesses together, large businesses. And, but he was also a steroid addict. He did a lot of steroids, and basically at the end of the day, he ended up killing himself. So he had kidney failure. He needed his 3rd kidney transplant at the end. He had open heart surgery. Towards the end, he was probably in the hospital like once every 2 weeks or something like that. And he was giving up. So I knew prior to him passing away that he wasn't going to make it, because he just was done. And he was still injecting even while I was administering dialysis. So I could basically be a nurse after everything I went through. So after he passed, there was a lot to clean up, because we did have 5 businesses. I was the second wife. He had 4 daughters, and it was not pretty. It was not pretty. I almost lost everything. Luckily, I bought my house when I was 23 prior to us getting together. So I was able to hold on to that, but they try to take everything from me. So after the dust settled, I had to get back into the workforce, which was very difficult because I'd always been an entrepreneur. And I mean, even, I'd always been an entrepreneur. I really never worked for anyone. And after I did get a small settlement, and I decided, like, at that point, I had wanted to get into fashion. And so I started my fashion label, after I got my settlement, and I had a blast. I mean, I was pretty successful as far as like designing, creating, making beautiful clothing. I was on the runway in Rhode Island for Style Week. I was on the TV there, the local news. I was a finalist for the Cadillac Design Challenge here at Style Chicago. So I did a lot of great things with fashion, but I realized people are very picky about their clothing. They don't care if it's made here in the US. I was adamant about making my clothes here. And so it just wasn't lucrative for me at the end of the day. And you can't throw good money after bad. So I was like, okay, I've had a great experience. I feel like I was successful in my own right. And I was like, after my third collection, I was like, I was done. So that was when I stumbled upon the podcasting world. Okay. So I got an email saying how to start a podcast for under $100, and I read it because I was done with my fashion label. I'm like, what's next? Like, what's next? Sure. I'm not one that can sit still. And I read this, and I'm like, I'm gonna start a podcast. I told my cousin, I'm like, I don't know who the fuck I think I am, but I'm gonna do it. And then I talked to my best friend. I told her what my idea was. And I feel like over the last 5 years, I had to shed a lot of labels from my old life and just having to start over. And I personally don't want anybody to put me in a box and say, you have to be this type of person. You have to, check off all those boxes. And it just wasn't for me. And so that's how Label Free Podcast was born.
Tell us about Label Free Podcast. Like, what are you trying to serve your audience with your podcast?
You know what? And that's a great question. I feel I get a lot of thank yous, which I'm sure you do too, from people that are just really resonate with that message to live label free, not to have any restrictions, to live your life dynamically. We are only as limited as we allow ourselves to believe. And, I feel like what I do, I talk to people that have broken out of certain, a lot of people that have gotten out of corporate America. A lot of people have overcome abuse like myself and have created a beautiful life where they had never been before. Sure. And I feel like those stories are so powerful because there is an audience for everyone. And if someone can resonate or like really relate to that story and that can help them break out of whatever might be holding them back, then we've done our job. Yeah. We've helped inspire, we've helped make the world a better place. We've helped people see their true potential. And I think that that's like what you're doing, what I'm doing, that's what we're here to do. Sure. And, sometimes it can get a little exhausting because, it takes energy.
Absolutely.
and you're giving of yourself constantly, but those thank you emails, the people that are just like, you're impacting their lives, I would run myself into the ground to get that every day.
Love it. And so what does label free mean to you?
Well, label free, for me, it's just, I don't ever want to have restrictions on my life, and I want to be able to be as authentic as possible. And my authenticity to someone could really, they could label me a certain way. And for me, I'm not going to own that label. And I think it's very easily for people to be so concerned about what others think. And I don't give a fuck. You can think whatever you want about me. Like because that's your baggage, not mine. And so for me to live that label free is like, I'm just going to be my authentic self. I'm going to swear, I'm going to be bold, I'm going to be aggressive. And that does not mean I'm any less of a human being or any less than a woman than I am, and that's what that means to me.
It's funny you say that, Deanna, because it's like people will come to me and say, I get approached a lot in my world here, especially in South Florida and whatnot, be like, what works for you? And I say, I live by two standards, period. One, as long as I haven't hurt you, insulted you, or derogatory towards you, I give absolutely zero fucks about what you think about me. Right. Secondly, I do everything I do in the service of others.
Yes.
Period. Everything. I do what I love in the service of people that love what I do. And that's exactly how I live. And that's exactly how you live. And I think that's why you and I mesh. I think that you're just me with a vagina or I'm you with a penis, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like you and I are the exact same people. You know what I'm saying? So no, I appreciate you being honest and open like that. So let me ask you something. People probably approach you quite a bit.
Yeah.
And for advice, and rightfully so. What kind of secret sauce, if you don't mind sharing, do you use to maybe help them find their blind spot?
Ooh, wow. You know what? I think people need to really be ready for they have to be ready for change to make a change in their life so that they can get out of that or see that blind spot or get out of that blind spot. I mean, however you want to put it. You can talk to people and they're blue in their face and tell them all of your I read daily affirmations. I make sure that I read books. I make sure that I fill myself with positive things on a daily basis because after I went through everything I went through, I had a choice to make. I could either be bitter at the world and mad and let that hold me back and just be miserable and let it just break me down, or I could decide to get up and be thankful that I'm still alive, I'm healthy, and I have another chance at life to make it as amazing as possible. And people that are struggling, you have a choice to make. If you want to make a positive change to your life, if there's something that is holding you back, you have to just have the balls and the courage to go after what it is that is holding you back. You just do. And I don't know, for you, but for me, when I started the podcast, I was scared.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even with my fashion label, I was scared. I was like, holy shit, what if people don't like it? What if they don't like me? And what, who the fuck do I think who the fuck do I think I am? But you have to face that fear because fear is an illusion. It really is. It's self-imposed. Yes. And once you realize that, it's nothing really scares you anymore.
What acronym do you use for fear?
Oh, false evidence appears real.
Okay.
You know who that's from, right?
Oh yeah. I use face everything and respond, but they all
everything and respond. Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, they all meet the same. So I just wanted to ask you on that. So when you're starting to work with somebody that wants to level up, and is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
Any good question they would ask me when faced with I don't know, I guess when I'm faced with a bad day or a challenge, how do I overcome it? Because
wow, that's amazing. You know what? A lot of people get stumped on that. I knew you wouldn't. Yeah, but it's true. The people that I coach, I wish they would ask me that, how I'm going to hit challenges because, I'm ready for the change, which you just mentioned. Be ready for the change you want to see in yourself. I have to make sure that they're that. And also, how do you overcome your bad days?
Yeah.
And level up. Now, I appreciate you saying that. So then you've seen the movie Back to the Future, I'm sure, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to, let's say, the 22-year-old Deanna. I don't know if your last name is Kuempel then. Let's go back to the 22-year-old Deanna. What kind of knowledge nuggets, that's what we call them here at Time to Shine today, are you dropping on her to maybe help her shorten her learning curve, level up, and blast through just a little bit quicker?
Oh, you know what? Probably to know that I was valuable enough to not be with men that abused me. But unfortunately, I had a father that was abusive and that just carried forward. And I had to go through a lot of I chose to go through a lot of counseling so that I could break that cycle. I didn't want to see my siblings go through that. And so I stopped it. I feel like I made a huge change for my family at that point because they were in my one younger sister was in the process of going down a very bad road. And, as the oldest, I decided this has to stop. We can't have this moving forward. And so I decided to go to counseling. So I think that if I could go back, I would just tell myself, you are worthy, you're loved, you deserve to be treated well. You don't deserve to be abused. And, when you are abused at a young age, you believe a lot of those bad things. And that's why it carries forward, and that's why it becomes a cyclical, and people, live that. A lot of people live that life over and over and over again, and they don't realize why. Why does this keep happening to me? Well, you have to decide to fix what's wrong with you, why you're attracting that into your life, why you're accepting that, and and heal. You have to heal.
Sure. And Deanna, how do you want your dash remembered then? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, life date and death date on your tombstone. How do you want Deanna's dash remembered?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I think probably that what my show says, to live your best life, live label free, or be bold, be courageous, be fearless.
Love it.
Something like
Be
that.
all fucking authentic, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Here we go. So let's go to the reverse of Marty McFly. Remember at the end of the movie where we're going, we don't need roads. So let's go into the future 15 years. God's given you, or your creator has given you good health, whatnot. Where do you see yourself?
Well, I'd like to have kids, maybe grandkids, and just be settled and have a very stable, peaceful life. I mean, I'm stable and peaceful now. Like, that's taken a long time to get there after, my life kind of blew up.
Sure.
But I mean, I see my life just evolving in a very healthy, happy, abundant way.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I see. Just family, love, success, abundance.
Love
peace.
it. Living that life of abundance. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So what do people misunderstand the most about you?
Whew, you know what? I think maybe before, oh gosh, I don't know. That's a good question. What do people, because I wear my heart on my sleeve, what
No
you
way. You kidding me?
what you see is
no.
what you get, man. What you see is what you get. So I think it's pretty hard to like not understand who I am, because I kind of put it out there every single day,
Mm-hmm. No, I love it. Okay. So then what keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night? I have a tiny bit of fear of failure. I really live my life in faith, and occasionally it does get to me. Like today, I had a little bit of a meltdown. I'm not going to lie, because I was in the corporate world, and I lost my job through COVID, and I just really focused heavily on my podcast. And I have been trying to get another job, and it's been pretty rough. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, all I keep saying is, God, whatever is meant for me, I just pray that it just presents itself.
Sure.
And I'm not forcing anything. I'm not. And today I was crying today. I had a breakdown. I called my best friend. I called my boyfriend. I was just like, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
So it's a little bit of fear of failure, because I've worked so hard and I've overcome so much. And it's just like, really, I've put my time in, man. I've paid my dues.
Right. Those tears are fertilizing, and just it's and you called the right people, and that's awesome. That you're doing the right things. You have that awesome support system. So then what's one thing that Deanna knows for sure?
What do I know? That life is too short.
Isn't it? Yeah. It's fucking short, man. I'm not down with missed opportunities. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, I go someplace, it's like, oh, Deanna lives in Chicago. Let's hook up. Let's, grab a bite or a bev and catch up and see these people that we only saw virtually during COVID. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do. I'm going to Nashville tonight, and there's 2 people that I interviewed. They're driving in there that we're going to have late night, just because of the COVID. It's like you take advantage of everything. That's awesome that you're doing that. So, Deanna, let's take out of this equation your cell phone, your computer, your tablet, anything electronic.
Okay.
What are 3 things that Deanna can't live without?
Ooh.
It can be people, places, or things. It can be,
well, definitely my dogs.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for saying that.
My boyfriend.
Okay.
And probably a book.
Okay. Gotcha. I love it. Like, I always had chicken wings in there because I love chicken wings, dude. Like, so it's like my woman, my dog, and chicken wings.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
You go. I love you. So what is Deanna's definition of a life well lived?
Ooh. Finding internal happiness. I think the one mistake people make is that they expect someone else to make them happy, or something to make them happy, or some event or something to make them happy, when really that happiness comes from within. And I've really tapped into that. Like, I don't expect anyone to make me happy. If I'm having a rough moment, or, I got over it. Obviously, I had a little breakdown earlier. It was a little rough start to my morning, but now I'm like, woohoo, let's go. And that's because I decided that I was not going to let that bring me down. I had my moment, and now I choose to live in happiness.
Love that. And it's not easy every day either. I mean, you just had a
No,
meltdown today. It's probably
no.
because you're so nervous about coming on Time to Shine
Oh,
today, you know?
I was actually very pumped. I was like, I'm so looking forward to talking to Fergie. Oh my God, because he's awesome. I watched your shows and just like the positive message you put out there. And I'm just like,
man.
yes, we are aligned.
It's all about giving until it hurts so good, right? But you got to be open to reciprocation. Are you open to reciprocation?
Of course.
Okay. So a lot of people give a lot.
Yeah.
I see you're putting out content. You're helping people out. You're always showing up, present flesh, everywhere I see on social and whatnot. But like, I just was curious if you were really open to reciprocation, of like open to somebody receiving something from somebody.
Of course.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Very cool. So some people are like, give, but they're not open to reciprocation. That stops everything in the universe, period, if you're not open, right? I mean, I'm looking at a plant that's on my freaking windowsill here right now. It's like I breathe in oxygen, breathe out carbon dioxide. The plant breathes in carbon dioxide, breathes out oxygen. It's like everything's a give and take, if you will.
Yes.
So
agreed.
And hey, Time to Shine today, Podcast Varsity Squad. We are back with my bestie from Chi-Town, Chicago, my friend Deanna Kuempel, the host of the fantastic Label Free podcast. When we're done, go subscribe to it. You must. Just don't do it right now because we're about ready to go into our leveling up lightning round. And my beautiful friend, Deanna, you and I could talk an hour on each one of these questions.
Okay.
But you got 5 seconds with no explanations. You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
What is the best leveling up advice Deanna's ever received?
Accept any opportunity that comes your way.
Yes. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Consistency is key. So I take my supplements every day. I try to work out every day, and I try to fill my mind with positive affirmations every day.
Beautiful. Other than your website, Label Free Podcast, and of course, .com, and of course, TimeToShineToday.com, my shameless plug. What website does Deanna like to go to level up?
Oh, gosh.
Quickly.
YouTube.
Good. I was hoping you could say Google or YouTube because that's where it does go. So you see me, I'm in my doldrums. You're like, Fergie looks like you need some help. What book are you handing me?
Ooh, gosh, that's a tough one. I have a lot of like self-help, positive books, self-development books. I'm drawing a blank on the name. Oh, crap.
It's okay. We'll come back to it. You'll remember it. What's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
A heart.
Excellent. Chess or checkers?
Ooh, chess.
What was your New Year's resolution?
I don't make them every day. Resolution.
And don't lie to me on this, young lady, but if you could stay one age, and I know how much iron you jack, so if you could stay one age for the rest of your life physically, keep all the knowledge you've garnered and continue to gain wisdom, physically, what age would you stay for the rest of your life?
I don't know, probably 40.
40?
Yeah.
I'll be 50. I'd take 32 all day because I know when I got out of bed, I could spring out of bed. No matter if I had a hard workout, hard jujitsu roll, whatever, I could hop out of bed a lot quicker. Because now it's like I sit up, I turn, the synovial oil is still like in my body, it's got to settle. So no, I agree with 42 because I was able to move around a little bit better even then. So I just digressed. I broke my own rule. Sorry. So what is your favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time or money to?
Oh, well, I spread that out quite a bit, but definitely Refuge for Women, which is which is helping victims of human trafficking. And then I do some other local ones here.
Beautiful.
In Chicago.
And squad, go to labelfreepodcast.com, scroll all the way to the bottom on the right, and then support Refuge for Women. Make sure you do that, squad. Okay. And then last question, and you can elaborate just a little bit on this one.
Okay.
Actually, a lot of it if you want. We got time. What is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Oh my God, probably 80s.
Yeah, I was going to say, you better say 80s, young lady. I'm going to say, because we kind of grew up in the big hair, don't care, you know, and then, it's like, but listen, look at the music. Like, honestly, like you came out of disco, right? But you got rap, like Run DMC or whatnot, you know, Beastie Boys and whatever. But then you had the glam rock with Poison. You had the hair bands with Metallica. You had the British invasion, U2 with the Irish invasion, Duran Duran. It's like, everything in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's like awesome. And a lot of the songs right now are played with the same hooks.
Yes.
I mean, Pitbull took like Aha's Take on Me and wrote like his song. It's like they're taking the hooks from the music from the 80s and bringing it out. That's awesome.
I love the new renditions of those hooks.
I do too, actually.
I'm like, yeah.
Right. And they're paying homage to who it came from too. That's what I love about these people. So my friend, how can we find you?
Well, labelfreepodcast.com. I'm on Instagram, Label Free Podcast. I'm on Facebook, Deanna Kuempel, or Label Free Podcast, and on LinkedIn, Deanna Kuempel, Kuempel.
Love it. And Deanna, do me one last favor. Leave us with one last knowledge nugget that we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Okay, real quick though, the book is Power.
Love it. Okay.
I still read it to this day.
Yeah.
One piece of wisdom or nugget, is that what you asked me?
Yeah, knowledge nugget. Leave us one last piece of knowledge nugget that we can take with us, internalize, and take action on today. Well,
I kind of already said it, but life is too short. If you have a dream or a goal or something, make a list, create action, go after it, because you never know when your day is going to come, and you don't want to live in regret.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. And squad, we just had basically an awesome conversation. And I'm sorry if we got a little belligerent for you, but don't freaking worry about it. You're grown up. You can deal with it. Because I know the Avatar people that listen to this, they probably actually enjoyed it a little bit because I was let out a little authentic self, especially people that know me. But listen, my good friend Deanna said, live label free, no restrictions, be your authentic self. If you're looking to make that change, you have to be ready for the change and want to make the change for yourself, and surround yourself with people that will help you live that bootstrap life, make the change. I mean, come on, dude. She was, she's a widow. She went through trafficking. I mean, this woman has went through a lot, and she always lived that bootstrap life where she pulls them up and gets after it. She wants you, how do you overcome a situation, a bad situation? One thing is the positive attitude, but also get your ask in gear, ASK, get your ask in gear and ask people. And someone like Deanna if I make a warm introduction to her, she will talk to you. Okay. She will help you out. She wants you to remember to know your value, that your past does not dictate who you are. You are worthy and loved. She wants you to live with internal happiness and understand that people from the external can't affect you unless you absolutely let them. And again, if you're feeling lost, remember that everything is inch by inch, it's a cinch. That's what we say. By the yard, it's hard. I mean, she just did not get over human trafficking and losing her husband and whatnot overnight. She was inch by inch, it's a cinch. She put together a methodical plan, lived it, executed it, and now look at her. She's my beautiful friend. She's humble yet hungry. She levels up her health, levels up her wealth. She's earned her varsity squad level letter. And thank you so much, Deanna, for coming on. You're amazing. I love your guts.
Thank you very much. Love you too.
Talk soon. Bye.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you're a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.